Hi, welcome to Movie Review Mom. I'm the mom and I review the movies. My goal is to give you the heads up on filmmaking quality and content so you can make the best decision for yourself and your family as to whether or not you want to spend time and money watching a specific film. So the film that I'm reviewing today is called The Birthday Cake. And by the way, my birthday is in June. So if you want to show some birthday love, be sure and subscribe, ring that little bell, and it'll notify you every time I upload a new movie review or trailer reaction, and check out my Patreon page if you want to send a little gift. Thanks, I really appreciate that. So back to the movie. Screen Media will release this film in theaters and on demand on June 18th, 2021. The movie is rated R and it's an hour and 33 minutes. I'm going to give you an overview in a nutshell where I'll point out things I liked and didn't like, tips for parents, themes worth talking about, and even give you some movie recommendations at the very end, along with my movie review grade. So, in a nutshell, Giovanni, who's played by David Mazouz, brings a birthday cake baked by his loyal mother, played by Lorraine Bracco, to a memorial celebration for the 10th anniversary of his father's mysterious death, hosted by his uncle, played by Val Kilmer, a Brooklyn mafia boss. His life begins to change as he pieces together what really happened to his father many years ago, coming face to face with a kind of violence that he's been trying to avoid his whole life. The dramatic thriller is directed by 𝗵𝗵𝗃 as his feature film directorial debut. So let me start by sharing some of the things I really liked about the film. First of all, I adore Ewan McGregor and will pretty much watch anything that he's in, really. He's wonderful in this film as expected. And rumor has it that he filmed his scenes in only 3 days. The movie feels like a 1990s gangster movie reunion and features a great cast with David Mazouz, Lorraine Bracco, William Fichtner, Ashley Benson, Aldous Hodge, Penn Badgley, Vincent Pastore, Louis Guzman, Jeremy Allen White, Paul Sorvino, Emery Cohen, Marla Maples, that was a surprise, and more. I thought Shiloh Fernandez was the perfect Geo, young and naively innocent. I'd never seen him in anything before, but now I'm a fan. I thought he was perfect. He looked genuinely Italian for the role, but he's actually half Portuguese and half Russian. I love it also when New York City is one of the characters in a movie. You really get a flavor for the city in this film. The director stated that, quote, New York City can be portrayed in a million different ways and has a fabric that is incomparable, end quote. I completely agree. The director tried to create a film in real time, so we get to experience things as Geo does, as he makes his way from his mother's house to his uncle's house while carrying a birthday cake. I loved seeing Geo City and the world through his eyes as he walks through the streets and comes across FBI informants, friends, relatives, a bachelorette party, strip club patrons, store owners, and many more people. Some scenes didn't necessarily give you new information, but they offered a big taste of Geo's colorful surroundings. The taxi driver scene was hilarious and the standout in humor for the movie, although the movie really is more of a dramatic thriller. The film does an excellent job painting a picture of the glory days when the mob ruled the streets of the Big Apple, yet the movie is set in modern day Brooklyn. If you're a fan of The Sopranos, that popular TV show that won a ton of Emmys, you're going to love this. Lorraine Bracco and Vincent Pastore both starred in that popular TV series, which won 21 Primetime Emmy Awards and received 111 nominations when everything was said and done. That's amazing. Now, there were a few things that I didn't like or thought could have been handled differently. For example, I don't really enjoy watching movies about people who live in the gutter. And while this movie is extremely well done, I kind of felt like I needed a shower after watching the movie because everybody was so bad and icky. However, it's done well, I'm just saying. It was also really heartbreaking to see Val Kilmer as he struggles in the aftermath of his real life throat cancer. So good for him for getting back out there in movies, even though it was really uncomfortable to watch him. When we think of The Godfather and his original speech impediment, I guess you could say, it kind of was fitting that this mob boss had another kind of a physical speech impediment. Anyway, you'll see. I loved Val Kilmer in Batman Forever and thought he did such a good job. The timeline might be a little bit confusing for some viewers. And by the time the end of the movie came around, I wanted more details. So the movie kind of ended suddenly, I thought. Now, let me give you some tips for parents. First of all, this movie is not appropriate for kids, and kids really would be bored anyway. There's a lot of bloody violence. There's some profanity, including crude language and F-bombs, point blank murder with blood splatters. You see topless woman at a strip club, and there are some subtitles that need to be read so little kids wouldn't be reading those. And again, you don't want your kids watching this movie. Some themes that are illustrated well and lessons learned are about family, loyalty, community, revenge, and even integrity. So whenever I watch movies, I write down the funny lines and interesting lines so I can share them with you so you can get a birthday cake taste of this movie. So I put them on my written review at moviereviewmom.com, but I'll share a couple of them with you right now. One of the funny lines that I wrote down was spoken by Sophia, played by Lorraine Bracco. And they're talking about this one guy, and she says, well, he might be a cop, but that doesn't mean he's a good one. And then the idea of what's a good cop is a little vague, and that's kind of also funny. Then there were lots of really interesting lines. One is spoken by Ewan McGregor. In fact, he's the narrator in the movie itself. And he says, with tragedy comes strength. And then Vito, played by Vincent Pastore, says, family was an option. Loyalty was essential. We didn't have a choice but to lean on each other. And that's really the crux of the film, is where your loyalties lie. All right, so with everything said and done, the movie review mom grade I'm giving this is a B+. I think there will be many people who really enjoy this film and the mobster life that it portrays. The characters are very well defined, and there are some valuable lessons learned in the movie as well. All right, so before we go, let me give you some recommendations for other movies that I think you'll also really enjoy. The first one that came to my mind is called The Road to Perdition with Tom Hanks. I don't know if you've ever seen that one, but that one's worth checking out, especially because Tom Hanks is fantastic. Another one, of course, is The Godfather, and really all of the Godfather movies. I finally watched the very first one and then proceeded to watch all of them probably just like 5 years ago. So they're all a classic. And then another movie that's equally violent and filled with mobster craziness is Goodfellas. Some excellent performances and more of that same flavor and violence. None of them I would recommend for kids and children's viewing. All right, that's it for my review. I hope if you watch this movie that you do enjoy it, and I will catch you in my next movie review. Bye for now.